Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Dragon's Pearl Sangha. You can call me Vinji. I'm here to talk to you today about the Four Noble Truths and a variation of the Four Noble Truths called the Four Ignoble Truths. Right up front, I want to credit Fred Davis for the latter. The Buddha is credited for the first four, for the Four Noble Truths. Fred Davis came up with a variation that I just really like. So thank you, Fred, for letting me steal your material. And one of the things you're going to notice, perhaps as you get to know me, is my language here has been very much influenced by Fred. It has to be. I've been working with him very closely for the past few years. And his language is dead on. It's as close to the truth that you can get without realizing the truth for yourself. So I want to give him a shout out. You can find Fred Davis's videos on his website. Just look him up, Fred Davis. Or go to his website, Awakening Clarity Now. So, the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. The first noble truth is life is suffering. Now, what that means is that as a human being, we experience suffering. Now, this is interesting because, as far as I understand how this has been translated, he didn't necessarily say that life is full of pain, which it is. What he's also saying is life is filled with suffering. The human experience contains suffering. But here's the key. Whereas pain itself might not be optional. You break a leg, it's going to hurt. A loved one dies, it's going to hurt. You lose a job, it's going to be upsetting. But the suffering is what follows from the pain. The suffering exists because of what he called the second noble truth, the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is that we're deluded. Well, what does that mean to be deluded? What it means is we believe our thoughts. We believe our ideas. We identify with our thoughts. The biggest identification here is the identification that there's a me. That's the big one. It's the one around everything else orbits. When we believe that there's a me, and we experience an event in our lives, we take it personally. Why did this happen to me? I'm a victim. I don't know if you can hear this. My dog, Duncan, is underneath my desk, and he's snoring away. I can hear it. I don't know if you can. Dogen likes to be a part of this. But we believe this me. We believe this me exists, that there's a real me here. And then we start developing stories around this me. I start identifying with various aspects of our lives, the roles we play. I'm a parent, I'm a child. Our professional roles. I'm a teacher. I'm a physician. I'm an accountant. I'm this, I'm that. We identify with our nationalities. I'm an American. I'm an Italian American. I'm a Jewish American. I'm a Mexican American. I'm this, I'm that. We identify with our belief systems. I believe in global warming. I don't believe in global warming. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter. Having preferences is okay to a point. But when we grasp those preferences, this is what causes suffering. Because it causes suffering not only for us, but it causes suffering for everybody else out there as well, because we hold on to our ideas and we believe that they're right and they're better than other people's ideas. I'll come back to this point. The third noble truth of Buddhism is that there's a cure. And the fourth noble truth of Buddhism is the cure. It's a series of perspectives. It's a series of realizations. Right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right effort, right livelihood, right mindfulness, right concentration. Not right as in right or wrong, but kind of awake view, awake effort, awake speech, awake thought, and so forth. The one that to me is most important, and the one that really is emphasized in both Zen and non-duality, is the right mindfulness. Whether it's through meditation practices or inquiry practices. Right mindfulness is really talking about where do you put your attention? Being mindful, not just in what you do. This is a topic for another video, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But being mindful of your own mind. Being aware of your own awareness. Because if you could be aware of your own awareness, if you could be mindful of your own mind, then you can see that the mind is not really the same as awareness. The mind is going to do what the mind does. Awareness is what exists prior to the mind. And once you realize that you are not the mind, you are not who you think you are, and you see clearly that you are the awareness that exists prior to the mind, all the other rights, the view, effort, thought, speech, and so on, will naturally arise or arise naturally. Maybe not entirely, because there's still always going to be some conditioned patterns that exist here. Again, a topic perhaps for another day. But I wanted to also introduce Fred's 4 ignoble truths. Thank you, Fred, for these ignoble truths, and thank you for letting me steal your material. This is great material. So Fred took the 4 noble truths and he modified them in a way that's just humorous. The first is, we make shit up. We make shit up. These are the thoughts, these are the ideas, these are the positions, these are the opinions that we hold. Everything in this world that is a product of the human mind is made up. Now, some of it's very good and very functional. I wouldn't be able to talk to you this way via camera above my monitor, on a computer screen, via the internet. These are things that have manifested as a result of the things we make up. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with making shit up. Some of it's good, if you want to apply a relative perspective. The problem is when we make shit up about ourselves. And that leads to the second ignoble truth. We believe the shit we make up. That's the problem. That's the delusion. That's the delusion. We believe the shit we make up. We identify with our beliefs, our opinions, our positions. We, most of all, believe that there's a me. And everything revolves around me. And this is insidious in our society. We're taught at an early age that it's all about us. That life revolves around us. News for you. Yes, life is us, but not the me. Awareness. But we're taught from a very early age that life revolves around our sense of individuality. We need to become someone. We need to be someone. We need to live our lives in a certain way. Well, who gets to pick and choose how we live our lives? Other people, typically. You should do that. You ought to do that. You got to do that. You didn't do that. You did that wrong. You're not supposed to do that. You need to work hard, strive hard. You need to achieve. You need to become someone. You know, to me, the epitome of our self-centered society all comes down to one product that has only recently made its way into our society. The selfie stick. Think about it. The selfie stick. What does a selfie stick allow you to do? It allows you to take your phone, put it on the end of a stick, hold it away from you about 2 to 3 feet for the sole purpose of taking a picture of yourself. How self-centered is that? Oh, look at me. Look at me. I'm here. Look at me eating. Look at me breathing. Look at me sleeping. Look at me on a hike. Look at me at a restaurant. Look at me walking down the street. Oh, look at me riding a bicycle. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. We're in trouble. Oh my God, humanity is in trouble. Because if we continue down this path of self-centeredness, and we see it all around us, we might not really survive very well. Because it's also the same sense of meanness that is causing the destruction of the planet. We think it's okay to rape our planet of resources, to pollute the water we drink and the air we breathe. Now, of course, I'm just espousing a position and an opinion. And it's okay to hold these things. The suffering, which is really what I'm talking about here, comes when we hold on to those things. We identify with those things. It is the way it is right now. There's pollution in our water. There's pollution in our air. There appears to be global warming occurring, which will raise the levels of our ocean water. In the grand scheme of things, what difference does it make? Who knows what's going to be here 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, 1,000,000,000 years in the future? Do we really think humanity's still going to be here? The Earth might not even be here. Some large asteroid might crash into this planet and blow it up. Or maybe we blow it up. In the grand scheme of things, nothing really matters. But as Fred Davis says, see, I can't help it. Nothing matters, but everything counts. Grand scheme of things, from the absolute perspective, nothing really matters. But from the relative perspective, everything counts. Because we're all one. We're all one source consciousness. We're all one awareness. We just perceive ourselves separate. And that's also part of the delusion, the second noble truth, which is why we suffer. So the third noble truth from Fred, well, we make shit up. We believe the shit we make up. And then we suffer because we believe the shit we make up. I love it. How much pointed truth can you get right there in those three nuggets? I haven't given you the fourth one yet. We make shit up. We believe the shit we make up, and then we suffer because we believe the shit we make up, because we argue with what is. We argue with what's going on, what's happening right now. And then, for those of us who become aware that we're suffering, we want to find a way out of suffering. For most of the world, the way out of suffering tends to be to divert our minds to other pursuits. Mindless entertainment, sports activities, drugs, alcohol. We numb ourselves from a sense of our own humanity, or even from perhaps the intuitive sense that we really don't exist. What we believe we are doesn't really exist. We're not who we think we are. But for many of us, because we suffer, we explore, we find a spiritual path, a spiritual discipline. I did it. Practice Zen, still practice Zen. I've done so for 30 years. Why did I get into it? Well, it was a little bit more because I was suffering. That's a topic for a different video. But the point of the fourth noble truth is this. We seek a way out of the suffering of the shit that we make up and then believe. How silly is that? We believe the shit we make up. I'm sorry, we make shit up. We believe the shit we make up. We suffer because we believe the shit up, and then we want a way out of our suffering. So just stop. Stop identifying with your thoughts. Your thoughts will come and go. Your thoughts will do what they do. It goes back to what I said before. Mindfulness. You start to notice that there are these thoughts taking place. Now, the suffering occurs because we identify with those thoughts. We think those thoughts are our thoughts. We think those thoughts are real. When you separate yourself mindfully and notice that you exist prior to the rising of the thoughts. I mean, just take a look. Stop. Who is it that's aware of the thoughts? You are aware of the thoughts. I say you. I use dualistic language here, but there's awareness of the thoughts. Is there not? Can you refute me there? There's awareness of the thoughts. So if there's awareness of the thoughts, you can't be the thoughts, can you? I'm not saying you're not the thoughts in the sense that the thoughts are what's arising. The thoughts are arising in this spacious awareness that you are. And so in a sense, there's no separation between that which is arising and that which is perceiving the arising. And ultimately, who you are and what happens to you can be said, who you are and what you think are one and the same thing. But the difference is where's your identification? Is it on the thought? That's real. I believe that. I believe in a me. It's all about me. Or you become aware of the fact that you're greater than that. You're bigger than that. You're vast. You're boundless. You're without end. You're without center. The way out of suffering. The way out of suffering is mindfulness. And I don't mean mindfulness in the way it's kind of been co-opted by society these days. Because now everybody's using mindfulness. You need to mindfully do what you're doing. Because people think that there's a you being mindful. I need to mindfully wash my dishes. I need to mindfully brush my teeth. I need to mindfully drink my coffee. But the coffee is a spiritual experience. Well, it can be. It is. It is. This is it. This is it. What's happening right here? But mindfulness, the way it's been used in society today, if you really limit it to be mindful of what you do, then you could be a mindful serial killer. Really? Yeah. That's why how it's being used is a little careless. Which is why, for me, over here, Zen, the Zen tradition, the Zen path, and the non-dual tradition, or path, and I call path because they're pathless paths, traditions maybe. It's not about being mindful of. In a sense, it's more of becoming aware that you are aware. The practices involve meditation and inquiry. Adyashanti wrote a book called True Meditation, and I like it. He's dead on. He took a key aspect of Zen because he had a strong Zen training, meditation, and he added in inquiry. He calls it true meditation. I think that's a little misleading because true means there's a false, but I like the integration of meditation and inquiry. Inquiry is direct questioning. Who am I? What am I? Who is it that's asking the question? Who is it, or what is it that's aware of awareness? It really forces you to look. There's a Zen koan to that effect that says, use your vision to think back to the mind that thinks. Who is it? Yeah. Search back into the mind that thinks. Using your vision, search back to the mind that thinks. What is it? That's mindfulness. That's inquiry. Zen koans are all about inquiry. But they're a little, perhaps less direct at times. So anyway, I had a feeling I might go over a little bit. So the Four Noble Truths, in summary: life is suffering. The cause of suffering are our delusions, which are our attachments, particularly that of a me. There's a cure, and the cure is this Eightfold Path, including mindfulness practices. And the Four Ignoble Truths, which I really like: we make shit up. We believe the shit we make up. We suffer because we believe the shit we make up. And then we seek a way out of our suffering. And so what I hope to talk about in upcoming and future videos and blog posts is this integrative perspective that hopefully will assist you in waking up, because you can do it right now. All you have to do is look. It's not hard. We think it's hard. It's only hard because we think it's hard. It's only hard because we have an idea that it's hard. I thought it was hard. In fact, I had what I would call an awakening many, many years ago. And I saw it for what it is. But then my thoughts came back and I didn't believe. That couldn't possibly be it. Because what I had realized at the time was, this is it. This right now is it. I realized that 20 plus years ago. I don't remember the exact year. Might have been 1997, 98 timeframe. About 20 years ago. I laughed. I remember now. In fact, I forgot about it, but I remember now. I laughed and laughed and laughed. On the plane home from the retreat that I was attending, I laughed. Because I realized it was all a cosmic joke. I was looking for something other than what is. It took me another 15 years to come to have the same realization, only differently. And you can too. And hopefully you will, because you can right now. You can right now. Just look. Just look. There you are. Tag, you're it.